Will heads roll for the rape and murder of a young doctor at the RG Kaur Medical College in Kolkata? Remember, that has been a key demand of the protesting doctors. The Mamata Banerjee government appears to be finally reaching out to the doctors. Initial attempts were rejected by protesting junior doctors because the invite came from the health secretary of the state, whose resignation is among the key demands of the junior doctors. I'm Barkha, you're with the Mojo story. Our relentless focus on what happens next in the RG Kaur rape and murder case continues. The Mamata Banerjee government is now doing something that it should have done right from the very start. It is making attempts to reach out to the medical community, to the protesting junior doctors for talks. Initial attempts at this did not go very well. The invite was sent by the state health secretary, who is on the list of those whom the junior protesting doctors say must resign. That's one of their key demands. But now, a new invitation has come from the Chief Secretary of West Bengal, even as senior doctors of the medical community also established contact with the Trinamool Congress government to see whether the impasse can be broken. Remember, despite the Chief Justice, Justice Chandrachud, asking protesting doctors to return to work, that 5 p.m. deadline of Tuesday evening has come and gone. Junior doctors that we've been speaking to say they're angry, disappointed, and disillusioned. These are exact quotes at what the Supreme Court said when it ordered them to go back to work. In fact, doctors argued that the Supreme Court did not pass any instructions on any of their key demands, which also includes a demand for the resignation of the Kolkata police chief. What can happen now? What will the doctors do next? We have Dr. Kunal Sarkar, a very senior doctor of West Bengal, telling us that 12,000 instant resignations will be deployed if the disciplinary action is taken even against one protesting doctor. How will the Trinamool Congress government respond, and what attempts are on by the medical community to try and break this impasse? The most important question is, this isn't just about a dialogue table discussion, it is also about justice for the victim and justice for the movement that junior doctors have led from the front line. Joining me now is our newsmaker on the program today. We're joined by Dr. Sashwati. You've heard her on our platform before. Welcome, Dr. Sashwati Sinha, to the program. Thank you very much. You are one of those doctors who has been in some contact with officials of the West Bengal government, of the Trinamool Congress government. But so far, the invitations that have gone to the junior doctors, they haven't yielded any results. The first invitation went from the state health secretary, whose resignation the doctors have been demanding. Now the chief secretary has reached out, but there's still dispute over the size of the delegation. The Mamata Banerjee government wanting only 10 doctors to come. The protesting doctors saying at least 35 doctors will go. What is the situation right now, ma'am, and what is the mood in the medical community, Dr. Sashwati?
Good afternoon. Actually, the protesting doctors, they are open to the invitation, provided a reasonable number of the representing delegation is allowed to go in for the conversation which they want to have. They have already stated their demands in very clear terms, and they cannot manage within 10 to 12 or even 15, which is the latest communication which has come from. So, but what we have heard are they are still in conversation with each other. They are having a meeting amongst themselves, and they will come up with a final decision regarding the meeting which is scheduled this evening.
Now, tell me, one dispute has been over the size of the delegation, but there is also who sent the invitation. The initial invite came from the state's health secretary. That is one of the demands of the junior doctors, is that the state health secretary should resign. Now it's come from the chief secretary. Do you believe the chief minister needs to personally reach out, that Mamata Banerjee herself should be at the front line of these conversations instead of leaving it to bureaucrats who are, some of whom are seen to be complicit in the collapse of so many different things, the investigation as well as the vandalism that took place at the RG Kaur College on the eve of Independence Day?
I think the junior doctors are looking towards that. They would like to have a communication with the senior officials and the Honorable Chief Minister if she wants to speak to them. They are quite open to that. But what upset them yesterday was the email coming from the person whose resignation they were demanding. So that was something which upset them, as well as the size of the delegation.
And who would they want to hear directly from? Would they want to hear directly from the chief minister?
Well, they haven't spelled that out, but they have said they are quite open to having a communication, and they have also heard yesterday when they got a communication through somebody from the health department that the Honorable Chief Minister was waiting to meet them, and she had already given an indication that she would like to have a conversation. So, although they have not, put forward any condition that they are going to meet only her, but probably they are hoping to meet this her and the senior officials. I'm sorry, Barkha, I couldn't hear you.
Were you surprised that the initial invite came from an official whose resignation they have demanded?
It was surprising, actually. More than us, I think, the junior protesting doctors. I'm sure they also have mentioned multiple times that they also want this this static situation to end. Even they are keen to get back to work, but I think the communication was not exactly what they had expected.
Hmm. What now? Because I know that you've also been in rounds of talks with the government. What now?
See, although we are not in direct communication with the West Bengal government as such, but there are representatives of the joint platform of doctors who are in communication with multiple societies. They are probably also in communication with the administration. But what we are looking forward is basically what we last heard is with the latest communication which has come to the junior doctors, they're having a meeting amongst themselves because why they were saying that 26 medical colleges, so what they were expecting is at least have one representative from each medical college, so that would amount to at least 25 people. So that is what they are looking forward, and they are really looking forward for their demands to be met because not only are they fighting for justice for abhaya, which is the primary thing, but they're also looking for cleansing of this situation and the system, and there are several points which they have raised which they would like to be dealt with during the meeting.
Now, a lot of doctors, protesting doctors that I've been interviewing, they say that they've been very angry and hurt and disillusioned and disheartened after the Supreme Court hearing. The Chief Justice ordered them to go back to work. The doctors have clearly decided they're not going to do that, and some of their key demands are met. Mr. Kapil Sibal also blamed 23 deaths on the protesting doctors, which they have questioned. They say that the blame is being transferred on them. They've also shared data about exactly how many government-run medical colleges there are in West Bengal. What do you make of this new allegation that is, the Trinamool Congress on the one hand is inviting the doctors for talks, but on the other hand, their spokespeople on programs like this are blaming the junior doctors for the deaths of 23 people. What do you make of that as a senior doctor?
What I would think that everybody wants, it's not only the administration, it is not only the Supreme Court, but I'm sure even the doctors want to go back to work. It is not that, they are protesting out of, no reason. They are protesting for a particular reason. They have their demands clearly set out. They're looking for their safety. They do not want a repeat of this event to ever happen to anybody else again. On the other hand, the point which was brought up of 23 deaths within the last 1 month, if you really look at the statistics, the junior doctors are just a fraction of the entire fraternity of doctors who are working in several situations or several hospitals at several levels in the state. So just the 7,500 odd junior doctors protesting leading to 23 deaths is probably not the correct way to put things forward, because if you really look at the statistics, although they are not verified during the same period of time in the last several years, there probably have been much more deaths than what has happened in the last month.
Yeah. There's also the question of legally what the West Bengal government can do. Thankfully, they are not taking a aggressive, confrontational position. But after what the Chief Justice said, technically the West Bengal government can take disciplinary action. We put this question to Dr. Kunal Sarkar on what would happen if disciplinary action is taken. I'm just going to play out a short clip of what he said and then come back to you for your response. What would happen if disciplinary action is taken against the doctors if these talks don't work out? Take a look.
What was really blurted out aggravated the situation, and the last two bits he said was completely unnecessary. That was that if you do not join work, you will be, government is free to take action, etc. Allow me half a minute more. You shudder to think where is the scenario set this evening? 5 o'clock is gone. Now, supposing even if one junior doctor receives a notice of any description from the state government, about 12,000 instant resignation letters are ready. The
Really?
the entire West Bengal Health Service would probably resign in matter of half an hour, right?
Do you agree with Dr. Kunal Sarkar? Is the medical community really that united? Because if there was a young doctor today who has anyway lent her or his voice to this movement for a larger cause, then today their entire career could technically be sabotaged if the West Bengal government chooses to go that way. Do you agree that the medical community is united?
Right now, there has been this unprecedented solidarity with this movement. It is not because of because the entire medical fraternity is standing by the cause. The kind of demands which the junior doctors have put together, and they would like to present it. I think the entire medical community in West Bengal are standing by them. So it will be extremely unfortunate, although we completely understand that the healthcare system needs to come back in action. But uh, right now, any adverse reaction against any of the junior doctors can trigger things like that, which Dr. Kunal Sarkar mentioned.
Dr. Sashwati, in terms of key demands, one of the demands of the junior doctors was the resignation of the Kolkata police chief. And in part, this is because of what they believe has been a cover up of the crime. And in part, it is because of the vandalism that the police failed to, either unwilling or unable to contain on the eve of Independence Day. Now Mamata Banerjee has revealed that the police chief was ready to resign, and she decided that was not needed, not it was not appropriate because there's a Pujo season coming. A lot of doctors are saying, how can you even talk about festivities at a time like this? Do you believe that the police commissioner will have to go for these talks to work?
One of the five demands, one of the five key demands which the junior doctors are going to present whenever they have this conversation is the resignation of the police commissioner. That is there for sure. But I think there are a lot of other things, the other four demands, also including people from the health department. There are concerns regarding the security, the provision of security to the working doctors once they go back to work. So I think there are several other factors which will come into play, and it will entirely depend upon how this communication goes forward and how many of their demands are met. So I think that meeting is going to be extremely important before we can come to a decision.
And
But they are still very
and
strong.
and do we know when this meeting might take place?
It is supposed to be at 6 p.m. today evening at the Secretariat at Nabanna. But the meeting is still on among the junior doctors, their general body, before they finally come up with the plan.
Are you surprised that when the police chief was ready to resign, the chief minister declined to accept that resignation?
To a certain extent, yes.
Yeah, yeah, it is surprising, and I mean, it could have diffused in a way in the situation, at least partially. Let me ask you finally. All the protesting doctors have been saying that this is also about justice for the victim, and the point is that given so many things that we know right now, including this has now come up in the Supreme Court. Why did the postmortem take place after 6? Why was the death declaration delayed by 3 hours? Junior doctors trying to stop the body from being moved from the crime scene. The crime scene itself having an infiltration of many, many people, including a man called Avik Dey, affiliated to the Trinamool Congress, since suspended from its youth wing. People close to the former disgraced principal of RG Kaur, Sandeep Ghosh, at the crime scene. There is serious doubt that the truth of this matter will ever be known. What do you feel as a woman, as a doctor? Do you feel that we will ever know the truth? Yeah, ma'am, I
We
can't hear you. Can start again. Yeah.
I think we should continue to be hopeful, because if we lose faith in the judiciary, then it's quite, what news is coming up, that the CBI has got several leads, and that is the reason they are still investigating, they are still interrogating people. Maybe the initial period was better handled, then the hope would have been much higher, the investigation would have been much smoother and much more foolproof. But still, considering CBI's efforts and what came up during the hearing on that day, that the CBI is still trying to investigate on a lot of aspects, and they're trying to connect the dots together. I, as a senior doctor, would still be quite hopeful, because otherwise we cannot even have the
Yeah.
hope to continue work.
Yeah. Finally, in the 24 hours after the Supreme Court hearing, the mood was quite down and angry among the junior doctors. How would you describe that mood today? They have stuck to their guns. They have stuck to their principles. They have not given up their protest, without key conditions being demanded for again. As a senior doctor, as a veteran, how would you describe the mood in the medical community today?
We are still very confused as to which way things are going to go. We are extremely inspired by, and we are really proud of our junior people who have really held their own, and they have gone through a lot of adversities, protesting there throughout the night. It was pouring last night
Yeah.
at a certain point in time, but they are still going strong, because they're quite clear about their priorities, and they're very, very clear about what they're fighting for. And they really do not want another gruesome incident to be ever repeated again. So,
Dr. Sashwati, yes, absolutely. And I just keep reminding everybody that while the Supreme Court asks them to go back to work, the Supreme Court would not have even picked up this case were it not for the protests by the doctors and the kind of national attention they were able to mobilize. So, more power to them. Thank you, ma'am. And we'll watch closely to see what happens if those talks do happen today, if they lead to a breakthrough, if heads do roll. Someone has to take accountability beyond Sandeep Ghosh. And the rape accused for what happened, and the vandalism and the cover up that followed. And I think that's all that the doctors are asking for. Dr. Shashwati Sinha, thank you so much for talking to us, and we hope to talk to you again very soon. Thank you, ma'am.
thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.